Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Listography. Today we're talking about Beck. Beck, of course, rose to fame in the early 90s, was known for his experimental and lo-fi sound, and eventually became known for his ability to somewhat effortlessly jump from genre to genre. He's got 13 albums that we'll be looking at, so let's get into it. We'll start with number 13, Golden Feelings. This was released independently on cassette in 1993. The label Sonic Enemy released it on CD in 1999. Without Beck's permission, he ended up suing them, so only 2,000 of these were pressed. Not really an official album, but you can find it online if you snoop around a little. It shows Beck's early influences, and it would be an interesting document for hardcore fans of his to check out, but in all honesty, it's not really that good. Moving on to number 12, One Foot in the Grave. This was another independent release. It was recorded prior to his major label debut, Mellow Gold, but came out a little bit afterwards. Again, this album will be interesting for hardcore Beck fans, but it's not all that great of an album, although the recording quality is a little bit better here than it is on Golden Feelings. Alright, moving on to number 11, Pathak Soul Manure. This again was released on an indie label. Came out about a week before Mellow Gold came out. The recording quality is similar to that of One Foot in the Grave, but there are actually some enjoyable songs on here. Some of the country numbers, like Rowboat, I find particularly enjoyable with their prominent use of pedal steel, which I love. Rowboat, The Spirit Moves Me, Crystal Clear, some pretty good tracks. Although still down at this point on the list, I would say all three of those albums should be kept for the hardcore fans. I don't think too many casual Beck fans are gonna be that into them. Number 10, the first really official release on the list, is Modern Guilt. This was produced by Danger Mouse, and I am not a big Danger Mouse fan, I will say that. I feel like he's a little bit of a one-trick pony, and I think his production style tends to overpower the artists that he works with, and that is exactly the problem with this record. It really sounds more like a Danger Mouse record than a Beck album. There's some okay songs on here like Orphans and Modern Guilt, but all in all, I'm just not a big fan of the sound of this record or the style of it. Right, number 9, I'm gonna go with Mellow Gold. That is his major label debut. It's got a much higher quality recording than his indie releases, and it has a somewhat more focused sound. He largely alternates here between freak folk and his kind of Beastie Boys-esque hip-hop. He doesn't really blend them that well. He sort of just goes back and forth between them, and you can sort of see the influences. He's not making it uniquely his on this record. Of course, this record has the big hit Loser on it, but it's not one of my favorite albums of his overall. Number 8, going with The Information. There are some good songs here, but ultimately this record feels a little directionless and uninspired. Really don't know a whole lot to say about this record. It kind of just is, and that's kind of the problem with it. I Think I'm in Love is by far the best song on the record. Strange Apparition, Soldier Jane, and No Complaints are okay songs as well. Number 7, his most recent record, Colors. It's a moderately successful attempt at making a contemporary mainstream pop record. Greg Kurstin, the big super producer, gives the record a very slick production that I think Beck wanted and that he was looking for, and the songs are decent enough, but Beck's personality kind of gets lost in kind of the grand bombast of the production. obviously it's Beck singing. You can recognize the timbre of his voice. But aside from just hearing it and knowing that it's him, it really could have been anyone singing. And aside from that, I just really, really hate the pan flute sound on this record. It appears in several songs, but really on the song Wow, it's just all over that track, and I cannot stand it. All right, number 6, the album Guerro. This is kind of an album with dual personalities. You've got these upbeat party songs like E-Pro, Girl, and Hell Yes, but you also have some like dark, moody numbers as well, like Broken Drum, Emergency Exit, Farewell Ride. I think the record would be a little more enjoyable if he went all in on either one of those directions, because there's a lot of good songs on this record, but it's a little hard to put a finger on exactly what this album is trying to be. Number 5, going with Midnight Vultures. So this does not have that same problem. This is very clearly a party record through and through. It kind of has the same kitchen sink approach that Odelay does, but it results in a more unified sound, where Odelay is kind of wildly eclectic and all over the place. Midnight Vultures molds all these influences into this sort of dirty, funky dance record. Sex Laws is fantastic. Nicotine and Gravy is cool. Mixed Business, Peaches and Cream, Deborah. Very good record. All right, number 4, I'm going with Odelay, his big breakthrough record. This is probably the record that he's most well known for, and with good reason. The Dust Brothers production here takes all these different elements that Beck's bringing to his music and kind of acts as a glue to hold it all together. And not only does it hold everything together, but it does so in a way that is unique and shines a light on Beck's unique personality. And in that way, Odelay was a very brilliant and groundbreaking album. I'd be willing to bet that when most people think of Beck, they think of this sort of artist who is like a collagist in a way. He pulled from hip-hop, soul, pop, rock, folk, and funk. And that's largely to do with this album. That's why people think of him as that type of artist. But the thing about Beck, though, that is often overlooked is how good of a songwriter he is. And from that standpoint, even though Odelay is better than his previous efforts, it's not the best example of his writing. And I really enjoy his records where he highlights his songwriting. So that's why I have a few records above this record. But of course, you've got Devil's Haircut, Hot Wax, Lord Only Knows, The New Pollution, Jackass, Where It's At, Sissy Neck, Ramshackle, just a lot of great songs on this record. And it's so critically acclaimed because of that. It's well-deserved. All right, at number 3, I'm going with Morning Phase. This record is kind of a companion piece to 2002's Sea Change, in that it's a more mellow, folky record, mainly focused on his songwriting. This record a little controversial for beating out Beyonce for Record of the Year at the Grammys, but it's a record full of great songs with warm and rich production, and it's pretty much as simple as that. It's a good record with good songs. My favorite songs are Morning, Hard as a Drum, and Blue Moon. Yeah, just a strong record. I don't know if it was the best record that come out that year, but a very good record nonetheless. All right, number 2, I have Mutations. I think this might be the most overlooked record in his catalog. Of his 3 largely singer-songwriter albums, the 3 records that I have at the top of this list, I think this is by far the most varied, both in the type of songs. There's folk songs, country songs, chamber pop, tropicalia, all different kinds of songs on this record. And also varied in its production. Record is produced by Nigel Godrich, of course, famous for working with Radiohead. But he made a really unique record here, and it sounds fantastic. It's really great with headphones on. There's a lot of variety, just a really good record. And if you don't know this one, I highly recommend checking it out. And at number 1, I've got 2002's Sea Change. This is just one of the most devastating breakup albums of all time. Once again, Nigel Godrich producing, so it sounds fantastic. There's great string arrangements on this record. But the thing that really sets Sea Change apart from the rest of Beck's catalog are the lyrics and the vocal performances. It is by far the most emotional and vulnerable that Beck ever is on record, trading away his usual wit and irony for some deeply sincere and personal songs. Golden Age, Paper Tiger, Guess I'm Doing Fine, Lost Cause, End of the Day, It's All in Your Mind. Just one of the best records ever made, in my opinion. Very, very good record. And if you like sad singer-songwriter breakup albums, and you don't know this album, definitely gonna want to check it out. All right, so that is my listography of Beck. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, hit like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you can get notifications, and of course, comment below. Tell me what I got wrong and what your Beck list would be. Thanks, guys.